Hello everybody. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn presented by Crossing Healthcare. I'm Monica. I am a nutrition master's student over at Illinois State, and I'm studying to be a registered dietitian. And today I have the pleasure of teaching you how to build a healthy snack. So the first thing I want to start with is a little interactive. So what is health in general, or like what are some things that you think of when you think of health?
Diseases.
Diseases, okay.
Feeling good.
Feeling good, yes, very good.
Exercising.
Exercising, very good.
Eating well.
Eating well, yep. Any others? Okay, yeah, so these are all things that have to do with our health, and as you kind of noticed, there were a lot of different things floating around, and I've seen so many different definitions of health, like absence of disease or just feeling good overall, but I kind of wanted to break it down a little bit more into physical, mental, and social health. So we could feel really strong physically, but we could also feel socially isolated, or mentally exhausted or depressed, and these all are not mutually exclusive. We can feel all of these at the same time, right? So I wanted to note that even if a food is really nutritious and supports us physically, the context that we eat that food in might not support our mental and social health. So let's do an example. So let's say that we're at a birthday party, and everyone's eating those classic birthday foods like cake and ice cream and hot dogs and hamburgers, and you're thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't eat those foods because they're not, quote, healthy, right? And you might be depriving yourself at the party because you don't want to eat them. Has anyone experienced that? Yes, okay. So there are a couple things that could happen. One is that we don't eat any of those foods and we go home. Another thing could be that we might have a little bit, but we don't want to have too much, so we'll just taste it, and then when you go home, you kind of feel like, okay, well that day is ruined. I had something, so now I'm going to go home and eat whatever I want and start over the next day, right? Yes. So if you don't eat anything at the party, you could go home and feel like, oh, I've been really good, maybe I can treat myself to something, and maybe you feel like you want to overeat a little bit of like healthy foods. And either situation is okay, but it leaves us feeling guilty. It leaves us feeling like we don't have willpower, and it makes us feel like we have to start over tomorrow and get back on track, right? So what if I told you that the food at the party is actually good for our mental and social health? Has anybody heard that before or experienced that a little bit? Okay, so what I just want to emphasize, there's a time and a place for all foods. Okay, all foods can fit within healthy eating. So let's bring it into snacking. So does everyone need to snack? Yes, maybe. Yeah, so I would definitely say it depends, right? Everybody is so different. We all have different bodies, we all have different lives and different schedules going on. So if someone likes to snack, that's totally fine. Somebody else may not like to snack. And you'll kind of notice if you talk to other people, everybody's eating is a little bit different throughout the day. Portion sizes are different, how hungry you are is different. And that's okay. It's okay to not have the exact same eating pattern as someone else. It's okay to eat more than someone else. It's okay to eat less than someone else. So what is the best time to eat? It's a bit of a trick question.
Eat or eat snacks?
Either one.
When you're hungry.
When you're hungry. Perfect. Great. Yes, very good. When you're hungry. So I wanted to do a quick demo of what can happen when we decide to skip meals or skip snacks and ignore those hunger cues. Okay, so let's say that you are in the ocean and you're going swimming, and all of a sudden a huge wave comes and just washes over you, and you just get pushed underwater. And you don't know which way is up or down, and you kind of start to feel like you're going to run out of breath. So you finally figure out where the sun is, and you start swimming towards the top, and eventually you finally get to the surface. And what happens when you pop through the surface? Breathe air. You breathe this innate, unapologetic, humongous gasp for air, and then you start to feel better, right? Right. So let's think about food. So when we restrict the amount or the type of food that we eat, what can happen?
You end up overeating later.
Yes, you end up overeating later, eating lots of food, and that is something that our body does as a protective mechanism. But the difference is society tells us that we're a failure, we have no willpower, and we feel guilty, right? So that's a huge difference. No one was saying that when you need to take a breath of air, but we have this diet culture around us that tells us that we need to feel guilty for eating too much, even though it's a natural protective mechanism that our body has. So I just want to emphasize that overeating in response to deprivation is very normal. It's very natural. It happens really frequently, especially if you're used to restricting or not eating at the party and then eating later. And what happens when your body does this is it thinks that there's not enough food around you, and it thinks that you're in a famine. So our body doesn't know the difference between intentional starvation and, or it doesn't know the difference between unintentional starvation and dieting. So it thinks that there's not enough food around, because otherwise why wouldn't you be feeding your body when it tells you that you're hungry? So allowing yourself to eat when you're hungry and to eat the foods that you want can help prevent feeling out of control when eating. So in terms of snacking, it's okay to snack. It's really good to snack, especially if you start to feel hungry before lunch or before dinner. Whenever you feel the need to snack, is okay to snack. And again, everybody's going to look different. You know your body best, and you know when you're feeling hungry and when you need something to eat. So I would recommend going for snacks that taste good to you. Not everybody has the same taste. The recipe that I'm making today has basil in it, and some people don't like basil, some people do. Again, go for a snack that you are really going to enjoy. This is an optional combination for snacks. You could do a carb and a fat together, you could do a carb and a protein together. But again, if you don't like the carb and fat combination or the carb and protein combination, you know your body best. Some examples of these could be pretzels and cheese, berries and yogurt. You could eat trail mix and fruit. Does anybody have a go-to snack that they really like?
Apples and peanut butter.
Apples and peanut butter, yep, I love those. Anybody else?
I eat all food.
Yep, me too. Yeah, and your snacks can kind of change too. You don't have to eat the same thing every day. You don't have to, it's really up to you. And so now I will demo one of my favorite snacks. And I'm from Wisconsin originally, so cheese is kind of like my love language. Like, I love cheese. And this is a recipe that I did steal from my roommate. She developed this. I call it Caprese all day. It's really fast, it's super easy, and it tastes really good. You can make this all at once and then store it in the fridge, and you can take it to work with you throughout the week if you want, or you could just make single servings like this when you feel hungry. So the ingredients that you would need are mozzarella pearls. They're little teeny baby balls of mozzarella. Has anyone tried these before? Yes, no, okay. Well, you get to try them today. I really like them just because they're fun. I love string cheese, but these just seem like little pearls. They're just fun. You'll also need some tomatoes. You can use cherry tomatoes, you can use regular ones, whatever you have on hand. You'll need avocado. This is balsamic glaze. It's just a little bit thicker than balsamic vinegar. And you'll also need some basil or any spice that or any herb that you'd like to put in there. You can also, that's what I have in the recipe today. You could also add in olives or onions or whatever you have on hand that you'd like to put in there. And that's about it. And you can eat it, just make sure you refrigerate it. If you want to make it all at once, I would recommend leaving the balsamic glaze off until you take what you want and then put it on, just because this can get a little sticky, and I think you can leave this unrefrigerated, so it's best to just serve it at room temperature.
So what if you just need a sweet treat? Like, what would be a good option for something that will still crave a sweet tooth, but not feel like I'm just eating brownies and cookies all day?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess that depends. I really like dark chocolate. Is that something that you like?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, dark chocolate is a great option. I like to pair it with like blueberries, or even like dried cranberries are really good with that. And that's something, I feel like dark chocolate is really rich to the point where like you can eat a little bit of it and be like, okay, I'm good for my sweet fix for a while. Otherwise, it's okay to have brownies too. It's not something that you need to necessarily completely cut out or limit. Does anybody else have any ideas for sweet treats or sweet snacks?
I always like to use peanut butter because that has like a sweet tooth or a sweet flavor for me,
Yeah.
so it kind of like helps with that sweet tooth. So
Yep,
that's why I
peanut
like the
butter.
apples and peanut butter a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, peanut butter is good to pair with sweet things.
I like pineapple. I just had some cottage cheese and
Yes.
pineapple earlier today.
Oh my gosh, yum, that sounds so good. Cottage cheese and pineapple sounds really good. A different spin on this recipe is a little bit sweeter. It's kind of like guacamole. You can take an avocado. I use frozen mango, but you can, if you have a red mango, you can go ahead and cut that up, and red onions together, and if you just scoop it with like tortilla chips, it's so, so good. You can like season it with salt and pepper. Yeah. If no one else has any questions, thank you so much for tuning in to today's Lunch and Learn. And the next Lunch and Learn will be August 31st. Thank you.